that God is an awesome God. He's an awesome God because he allowed me to rise up this morning, so I must stand erect to give total thanks to him. I want to talk to you all this morning about the power of being a W-I-N-N-E-R. As I dive into this presentation, I want to dive in with the number 30. I want to dive in with the number 30. I am 33 years past 30. You all in here looking so good that I'm tempted to come out my mouth and say you all are looking like you're 29. 1 year under 30. But what is 30? We are in 2020, correct? Is this 2020? Okay. What is 30 to me? Well, I'm going to share with you, and ladies and gentlemen, please understand what is about to come out of my being. One thing I am not a political correct speaking individual. Because God has brought me so far through where I once was that I must tell the story as it was and how it happened in my life to get me to being this power of being a winner. 30 years ago, December, now I guess that would be 31 years since we're in 2020, but December the 1st, 1989, I went to one of the local drug dealers in Tampa, and I bought a $20 bag of marijuana. I also went to the local liquor store, and I bought 2 quarts of Old English 800. I'm sure no one in here who used to drink, so you wouldn't know anything about that. Thank you. Never heard of it. I also, while in that same liquor store, I purchased a pack of Newport cigarettes. And if I'm not mistaken, there's 20 cigarettes in a pack. In December, they are 31 days in December. So that means if there are 20 cigarettes in the pack, I have to smoke sparingly so I can make those cigarettes last the whole 31 days. Once I got home to my domain, I spread this paraphernalia, if you will, amongst my kitchen table. I got on my knees and I began to pray. And I said, Lord, if I have to die, let me not die a problem, but let me die a solution. Now, one may be wondering, what does drugs, alcohol, and cigarettes have to do with being a solution? Thank you for asking the question, because here's the answer. I partake in getting high, smoking cigarettes, and drinking to the extreme, all the way from, per se, age 8, all the way up to the age of 33 years old. But there was something planted in me that said that there was a change and it was time for a change. I just had to be ready for the change. How many of you all can relate to someone you have tried to make change, but it was almost like talking to the brick wall? I can't tell you how many times people have talked to me and told me, boy, there's something inside of you and you need to let it out. And in the response, I would tell them, go mind your business. So I had to continue beating my head up against the wall until I personally got enough. And I got enough. That's why I went out and I bought what I bought. And for those 31 days, I got high, I drank, and I smoked. Now, get a hold of this. The power of being a winner. Get a hold of this. Watch night. I was not home getting high. Watch night, I was in church getting higher. Understand what I just said? I was not home getting high. I was in church getting higher. Was the real G-O-D. January 1st, 1990, which would be 30 years ago. I'll say it again. A change began to happen. A change began to happen. Now, please understand, and everyone in here, you know what I'm saying. See, change don't happen overnight. But you have to be willing to start the process of moving forward. You have to be willing to go within self, because God is already, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a preacher, but God is already at the door. He's the one that's saying, come on, I got you. Come on, don't be scared. Get off the sideline, get in the boat, I got you. I'm going to carry you, but you got to make the first step. Amen. I think they call that faith. Amen. And the seed that was planted inside of me, I had to water it and make sure every day of my life remaining, such as even today, I'm still watering that same seed. Because I have to bring, sir, that winner. I have to be determined, that winner. To bring my best to the table no matter what. Now, how many of you all know life has its circumstances? How many of you know that in the end, life is going to win? In the end, when we're turning to dust, life is continuing to move on. How many of you are aware of that? But in the midst of you living your life, you must know that you have to bring out that best of you every day. That's right. And that's what I champion to do. I also had to get over the other bridge that as I went out to bring my best, that there were going to be people walking around with the J. With the J. Everybody in here, you face the J every day. What is the J? Jealousy. People hating on you, people not wanting to see you succeed in your goal and in what God has given you to do. The power of being a winner. So with that J come W of the winner. I had to learn how to wade, W-A-D-E. You might want to write that down. I had to learn how to W-A-D-E. I had to wade. It's almost what comes in my mind, what I hear in my mind. You know what I hear in my mind right now? Way in the water. That's what I'm hearing right now. So I had, when the water was coming against me, I had to be able to wade against that tide to get to the what? Mountain. Sir, somebody else come to mind. He comes to mind as I see him right now on April the 3rd, 1968. I may not get there with you, but I see the promised land. And the promised land that I'm talking about, Wade, it's not going to come to you. You got to be able to maneuver your way to it. Now, as each one of you all got up and introduced yourself, I was sitting there just listening. And I said, wow, all these distinguished individuals, all these wonderful people who have waded through the obstacles, of discouragement. You waded through the obstacles of disappointment. You waded through the obstacle of disgust. And lastly, you waded through the obstacles of I can't. Question, since I said I can't, how many of you all have personally told yourself as you are tempted to venture, I can't? Raise your hand if you've done that. I ain't gonna lie, I've done it. I've done it many a times. Matter of fact, to be honest with you, I did it on my way coming up here. Driving up here. I'm driving and I looked down at my car to make sure it was okay. And I said, I can't. But on the flip, my car told me, you just continue to look out on the road, we will. That's right. So when the obstacles come before you, you have to know how to wade through to get to your G-O-A-L. Can I take it to a plural? S, goals. Everybody say goals. Don't just say gold, say goals. Put some soul into it. Goals. Don't have the James Brown in me come out. Hey! I feel good. talking about Mr. Brown, it was amazing that on that Christmas morning when I woke up and I turned on CNN and they mentioned James had passed, I said, wow, look at him. He still want to take over the news. We can't even have Christmas without James wanting to step in. Hey! But here's a man. Out of all the obstacles this brother went through, he still went out feeling good. The question is, the power of being a winner, how good do you feel? See, in some of my presentations, when I talk about feeling good, some people who know me personally, they tell me I'm crazy. Because I tell them that I'm high right now. And to be honest with you, I'm high right now. I am high right now. H-I-G-H. But I'm high on this thing called life. Why am I high on this thing called life? Because see, I can look back 30 years from whence I come from. I can look back even further than that 30 when I was that little child coming through those 5 foster homes. I can look at those 5 foster homes when they made me sleep out with the dog, the German Shepherd, that made me eat dog food for 9 straight months. I can look back when they made me drink that urine 5 or 6 times out of those bottles. I can look back when they told me what I wasn't going to be. I can even look back, sir, and I can see once my dad came and got me out of the foster home and he commits to physically abuse me, which I have marks on my body. I could be the great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandson of Kunta Kinte. But see, when you're a winner, you know in the back of your mind, in your membrane, ma'am, you got all the reasons to wake up and say, you know what? I quit. You have all the reasons, sir, to wake up and say that I'm going to go out and I'm going to murder somebody. You have all the reasons, ma'am, to wake up and say that this is where I lay for the rest of my day. I'm ready to die. But then on the flip side of that, you realize you don't have those reasons. You have the reason to bring out the best of you that is cherished within inside of you. Because the I, you're independent. You got the W, you got the I. Independent. As hard as it was to do, I had to learn that I had to let all those folks that were around me that were in the F-A-K-E mode. Anybody know what that spell? The fake mode. Matter of fact, a name comes to mind. I think his name is Alexander O'Neal. Anybody remember that singer? Yes. His song was, "You're a fake baby." I got to let you know that I tie heavily into music. As a matter of fact, on the 15th of this month, the group that I'm a member of, we do a lot of Temptations, and et cetera, et cetera. So we have a big bash that we're going to be doing on the 15th back in Tampa, because I love to sing. So you'll hear me relate to music a lot. But being a fake, those fakes are the ones that attempt to come and pat you on your back. But ma'am, while they patting you on your back, they'll be looking at you in your face, flattering you with all the wrong reasons to give you the idea, ma'am, that you can't make it to your personal mountaintop. That's why you gotta be independent. Now, don't get me wrong when I say independent, because ma'am, we all need somebody. We all need to reach out and touch somebody in order to help us maneuver to the goals that we wish to accomplish. But those, sir, that are not there in our corner to help us, we have to what? Be independently minded to step away in order to reach Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the mountaintop. Ladies and gentlemen, am I making sense? Neutral. Neutral. Sometimes that means that you just have to stop. How many of you all ever been told, sometimes you just got to stop? And you got to listen. And you got to let, as the Christians would say, you got to let God talk to you. See, sometimes we get in a hurry. How many of you all ever been in a hurry, and then when you got there, you realize, you know what? I didn't really have to be here this early. Right. I really didn't have to go there. It was completely oxy that I had to do what I had to do. All I had to do was, ma'am, just stop and listen. Well, that's what it is, the neutral. Sometimes we just got to hold our horses. How many of you all familiar with John Wayne? John Wayne? They say John Wayne beat death. Well, we know the real story. Pilgrims, death beat me. We know the real story. However, they say John Wayne was the greatest cowboy that ever lived. But the question is, was he? Because there were times that John Wayne himself even got caught being out of neutral, and that's why this brother is famous. Famous as he was, he wound up not being a failure, but he failed. He failed like we all fail. But the point of the subject is, can you get back up from that fail, sir, to go forth to achieve being independently focused on your goal? Then we got the other end. Am I breaking it down for you? Yes. Then we got the other end. We got natural. Please understand, everybody, and I'm going to go there. Miss Diana, I'm going to go there. Please understand, I am not a racist. I am not prejudiced. That's an old word. They used to use that back in the days, prejudice. Now they use racist. I do not discriminate. But I will say that I love when I see my African American sisters with their naturals. I love when I see them just letting their hair be real. What do I mean? When we go into the grocery store and we walk down the aisle to get the product that we are purchasing, we tend to read the labels. How many of you all read the labels? And we read the labels because we want to find out what kind of ingredients is in this product that we are trying to, or we're going to purchase. Because we want to make sure the ingredients is good for our health or for our family's health. The ingredients. Well, natural in our behalf is that just be yourself. Bring the real you to the focus. And people may not understand the real you, but they have to deal with the real you. Because Miss Diane, something just popped in my head, ma'am, and I just got to let you know. When I was young, they used to say, "Are you lying, boy?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not lying." In reality, I was lying. They said, "Tell the truth, even though it may hurt." That's being natural. To tell the truth, even though it may hurt in the end. How many of you all ever told the truth? You know, they say the truth will do what? Set you free. The truth will set you free. How many of you all ever told the truth and you felt good about the truth, even though you might have been disciplined on the other end of telling that truth, but you felt good? Anybody? All right? The truth will open those doors more so than it will close those doors. The truth in knowledge, the truth in education bring forth much opportunity. You just have to be willing to get up and get involved to slide forth to that, here comes that word again, your goals. Everybody say goals.
Goals.
So we got to wade as you are independent to be neutral and just be natural. Can everybody repeat after me? And believe it or not, Mr. Tommy Smith, after winning the 1968 Olympics, he stood up there just like this. I don't use that for that reason nowadays. I use this as unity for everybody. Because I have Caucasians in my sessions, I have Hispanics in my sessions, I have blacks in my sessions, I have even Iranians and Iraqians in my sessions. And it's a beautiful thing to me when I go up like this and they all climb that mountain with me. And we all stand in unity. Because, ladies and gentlemen, in the end said, we're all in this life together. The only thing I just pray for, if we all in this life together, how come we can't be together? And that brings me to the E. Everybody say E.
E.
And you know when you driving down the street and you lost, can you show me how to get to east? That starts with what letter?
E.
Sir, how do you get to elevation? That starts with a what, sir?
E.
How do you, ma'am, How do you elope? And I ain't talking about love elope. That starts with a what? E. How do you elope? Elope means to me is that you got to elope from those who attempt to hold you back in your what? Elevation, so that you can what? Evolve. Sir, I don't know, because, you know, I was a little kid then, and I'm not trying to age you, but I was a little kid. But there was a song that came out and said, express yourself. I want to say that was BT Express, but I don't think it was. It was somebody, another group further. So that's what the S means for me in winter. To be able, sir, to express yourself. Sir, you and your son, while you were sitting here and he stood up to present, you know, I looked at you and I said, oh, is that your son? And you said, yes, you are a proud dad. Can y'all give this brother a hand? Express yourself. I'm going there. I see a lot of young brothers with their children. Now, please understand, you know we live in a hip-hop era. Everybody understand? Everybody know that? Hip-hop? Hip-hop entail where you see these young brothers walking with their what? Pants down sagging. You see a lot of these young brothers got tattoos all over. You see a lot of these young brothers with the braids. You see a lot of these young brothers with the hats to the side. You see these brothers got a move about themselves when they walk. And you see a lot of these brothers get this little angry look that they got going on, but I can see through all that. But you know what empowers me about these young brothers? When I see these young brothers, so-called little gangsters, walking around with their children and they toting them with them. And sir, I had the audacity to walk up to him and I said, brother, please don't shoot me, but I just want to ask a question. Is those your children? He said, yeah, they is. So you know what I do? I said, man, give me a high five. I'm glad to see that. He said, oh, thank you, old school. It means a lot to me when I see a young man toting his children, because guess what? The news media says that they don't take care of their children. There's a lot of homeless or vacant dads, but they're right there. And you know what these young dads are doing, sir? Sir, you know what these young fathers are doing? No, sir. They're expressing themselves. I who am king stand tall to protect my what? Offsprings. So express. And these two brothers right here, what did they do this morning, ladies and gentlemen? They expressed themselves through what? Sound. So we have the gift to be able to use our vocal boxes. The gift to be able to speak. There's a brother in here, all right? I'm not going to point him out. There's a brother in here right now that is, I guess for the lesser word, now here in this society we live in, that is deaf. Meaning that he cannot speak. He's in this room right now. But what I love about this brother, he is always eager. When I'm around him, he's always eager to come out, ma'am, and express himself. He's eager to get up and get involved. So this brother, even though he can't speak, ma'am, he is always eager to get involved. He's not passive. He's eager to learn. He's eager to bring the best him to the forefront, even though he can't speak verbally such as we can. That's another form of expressing oneself. Expressing yourself in the major, not in the minor, elevates you to the next plateau of your goal for what you seek. Now, I understand that we got scholars in here. I do. I know we got doctors in here. We got PhDs in here. No pun intended, ladies and gentlemen. Sir, I am not a doctor and I do not have a PhD. In the midst of what I'm saying is, sir, I was gifted to be able to express myself. So I shall not allow myself, sir, to be passive in the corner when I know that God has stored certain gifts in me. Though I may not have that PhD, I am not afraid to step out, step up, and go for the what? Prize. Who comes to mind, sir? Who comes to mind? No other than Muhammad Ali. Thank you, man. Thank you for giving me a clue. Express yourself. Muhammad Ali, Cassius Marcellus Clay, at the age of 12 years old. Anybody know what happened? At the age of 12 years old, this brother got beat down, he got bullied, and they took his bicycle from him. Can you imagine by the time he was 18 years old, he was in the Olympics. When they sound that last bell, he came home an Olympic gold medal champion. But somebody beat him up and took his what? His bicycle. From there, he wound up in Miami, which I'll be in next week, in Miami, knocking out who? Sonny Liston. He jumped on the top rope and said, I'm pretty, I'm the greatest, nobody can beat me. But he beat Sonny Liston with something that he came up and he had to come out to express the alley shuffle. They took this man's championship belt for 3 years. We thought, oh, I didn't think, but they thought he was doomed, done. All because he did not want to go and fight the Viet Congs. But before you know it, the third phase of his story is Joe Frazier and him got in the ring. He lost the first, but he won the last two. And before he got to the age of 38 years old, ladies and gentlemen, in the ring with Larry Holmes, he had already achieved. So he had a wonderful career that he can look back on from the age of 12 to the age of 38. He expressed himself from 12 to 38. Though he lost that last fight, but he was already in the record books. How was he in the record books from 12 years old? First man to win how many championships? 3. I mean, it's a given nowadays. It's nothing to win 3 now. You can win 4. But who was the first? What hurdles did he have to overcome to get from that 12 being bullied to that champion of 3? Even though they said he's a loudmouth, we hate him, but on the day it was announced that he passed, all stopped and paid human. To who? Cassius Marcellus Clay / better known as Muhammad Ali. What are you expressing, my wonderful scholars? I like what my sir said. I'm sorry, sir. What's your name again? Franklin. Yes.
James Franklin.
Mr. Franklin. I'm retired, but this is what I do, and I don't get paid for it. But they are, and he told me there's some people in here who is piggybacking off of him to move us forward. Well, you know what I call that? The aura in being a winner. Re-giving. How many of you all have regave because somebody gave to you? No man is an island, no woman is an island, so please don't perpetrate a fraud. Don't act like you did it all yourself. One thing I love about Frederick Douglass, which is the gift, I put it up on Facebook, that in 2009, God came to me. 3 times he said, while I was brushing my teeth, Frederick Douglass, Frederick Douglass, Frederick Douglass. At the time, I was a happily married man. Now, I'm an unhappy single man. But anyway, the story goes on. Right on. Excuse me, I got to talk to myself for a second. Stop that one. So immediately, instead of me saying, how many of you all ever question God? Be honest. You question God so much, you question yourself right out of that conquering opportunity. My sister over here, we just realized that Morgan State in the building, all right? We just realized that if you don't take the opportunity, somebody else is going to get your opportunity. And when somebody else gets what was supposed to be yours because you didn't act on it, please don't pull out the back wallet of Jay. Because you blew it. So when God said, Frederick Douglass 3 times, and once I got myself together, I ran. I didn't walk, y'all. Well, I didn't run. I drove as fast as I could down to the Strauss Theater in Tampa, Florida to reserve a theater. I acted on it immediately. And here we are, 11 years later. How many doors can I say that God has opened up for me to portray a great hero of America, Frederick Douglass? Now, I will say it do help a whole lot that I look like him. That is a big advantage. But how far would that advantage go if I didn't have the knowledge? I can look like him, but if it's my turn to get behind the podium and all I say is, that look has no bearing. So one must, I'm going to go back to the E, express themselves through the knowledge, even though God has given you the look. I hear on TV that, and I'm going to go there, they say, ooh, she's a fine lady. Look at her. She got the curves and everything. Wow, he's a handsome gentleman. But if the gentleman and the lady is not packed with the good vitamins, the good nutrition of knowledge, what good is this? My great-great-grandmother, who I love dearly, at 16 she told me, she was a Pentecostal, and she told me, she said, looks are nothing if you don't have knowledge. Because one day those looks will disappear. And Miss Diana, I'm going to go there. I'm going to get in trouble. But anybody ever saw that movie, Player Club? All right? Thank you, sir. Thank you. At first he was sitting there like, and then he said, well, what the heck? I don't care. I'm retired. Yeah, I saw it. But the sisters in there, they were working at the Players Club. But when they went through the agony and defeat that they went through, as the movie was going off, there were two sisters working in the shoe store. All right? And they told these two sisters in the shoe store that that body of yours do not last forever. You need to get to doing something better than what you're thinking about doing, and it's called knowledge and education, because once that is over, you're done. Football players, Titans, which come to mind, I forget the running back's name, who played for the Titans, who were beat by the Kansas City Chiefs. This brother is so built, he don't need to run forth like this. He just run straight up, and everybody just splatters out the way. But like Cam Newton, who would score a touchdown and he would flash the Superman sign, where's Cam Newton now? Looking for a new team and injured. Because this thing here called body does not last long, especially if you're beating it and abusing it. So let me get back on track. Re-give. Reach out a hand. Am I my brother's keeper? Am I my sister's keeper? See, we're all scholars in here. And one thing we must do now that somebody done pulled us up by the coattail, we must turn around and we must pull the next generation up. Because I always do this analogy, if you will, where I will go to a wall, such as, I go to the wall and I ask them,